Well, I've now got the setting metal workshop here, and which is a bit crowded, so my apologies, and it's a bit backlit, so I don't know how this is going to come out, but we'll have a whirl. I'm quite pleased because I've got the set turned on its side, still on the stand, and there's no real further evidence of any woodworm of any great note. There's one or two, and I think there's just one on the top edge here, and there's two there. So it's looking quite good, really, as I say, because it's been, you know, in a woodworm-free environment now for many years. So we hope they're just old. I will treat those few holes along the back there of the ply there. But I thought what I'd do first is obviously take the chassis bolts off, and then we'll free it up and get it out and try and clean it. I think these bolts, they're not very tight, whether somebody's tried to have it out at some time or whether it's just that they were never put back in very tight. I think that's the only thing that's holding the main part of the chassis anyway, so we'll see. We'll take those out, as I say, and see if, no, that wasn't very tight again, that wasn't. So hopefully that should drop us the main part, then we can turn it back on the stand. Let's see what we've got then. I think this set has a separate main transformer along the side, and I think those two screws there hold the transformer in, but we won't worry about those too much at the moment. Quite intrigued that it's been stamped, which looks like DMD on the bottom, which I'm not quite sure what that stands for. But anyway, we'll come back in a minute. I'll now see about turning it back up and have a look, see if we can remove part of the chassis. Well, I think you can just see perhaps how disgustingly cobwebbed and dusty, and there's dead moths and there's all sorts in there. So I really think, before I even try and get the chassis out, I think I'm going to get the workshop vacuum cleaner and try and suck some of the worst of the mess out, even before I try and disturb anything. Obviously I've got to take the knobs off there, and this has got a Magic Eye tuner as well, which has got to be dropped. Obviously I presume it's like in a valve socket up there. So I think, as I say, we're now looking at how thick those cobwebs are up there, that I'll get the vacuum and give it a good old vacuum out, then we'll come back and... Well, I've had a good hoover, well, not good, but a reasonable hoover out of the cabinet, what I can reach and see, and got the worst of the cobwebs and dead moths and basically years of dust that I think has blown in. You know, it's got the back is quite open grills, as you can see, so so it's looking a lot better already. And obviously the next thing now is to lift the chassis out. What I always do, well, hello again. I've now looked out the trader sheet, as a lot of these, I mean, obviously this goes right back to the days when the radios were serviced in shops, and these wireless trader sheets were published, which give a brief outline of the radio and the components in the radio, some pictures, obviously there you can see underneath the chassis, and obviously a schematic electric drawing there of the components within the radio and how it all fits together. Being an amateur at this, and I find these essential if I'm restoring a radio. You know, obviously they're a great starting point. It even, in this case, in the McMichael 137, it even tells you, as you can see there, a little bit on how to dismantle a set, which isn't quite as straightforward in this set as I perhaps thought it was, because the whole top board with the tuning glass and dial on all comes off with the complete fastened to the chassis underneath. So obviously it's great having these. It does tell you what's what, and it makes life a lot easier, and we'll probably be referring to this later on when we start, you know, replacing components within the set and seeing where they go and what the values are. And I also, whilst I'm dismantling a set, well, at every stage of the restoration, I do take as many pictures as I possibly can, you know, with a still digital camera. I started long before the digital age restoring radios, and you know, I've come unstuck many times by making my own faults, by probably putting a wire connected wrong, or a capacitor connected to the wrong point in the set. And it's vital that if you've got some photos to reference to and go back and have a look, you can obviously put right your, you know, inborn faults that you've made yourself. It's very easy to get wires crossed in sets, or as I say, put a resistor or capacitor in the wrong place. So there's a tip. Whatever you're restoring, I would say do take as many photos as you can. As I say, so this is a trader sheet for the set, and I've now got the set out of the cabinet, so we'll have a quick look at the set as it stands now, and I'll get it up on the bench and then we'll have a look. Well, there you can see that's how it all lifts out, as I say, with the top wood board and the knobs and everything intact to the lower radio part of the chassis. The transformer comes out as another separate unit on its own. So yeah, it is incredulously dusty all round, and there was me saying the tuning cord was all okay. Well, when I get it out, I find that actually the cord, if we turn it around, I don't know how much you'll see on this, it's you know, there we're backlit again, in there, and if we turn it right round, you might see actually, there we go, in there the cord is actually broken. It wasn't turning properly when I tried yesterday, and it looks an absolutely horrendous job. I think there's hours of fun and entertainment there in recording. Obviously it's all got to be threaded round in the right sequence. It all has to be threaded round these pulleys and down. There's two bigger pulleys. I don't know whether you can see, I don't know whether you'll be able to see my finger. There's one there which obviously is connected onto the pointer on the main dial, and it then, I think if we turn the set round a bit again, we can, let's bring some light in there if we can. There's another round bit there that it has to be wound round again twice before it comes onto some more pulleys, so onto the which is onto the main tuning gang, and you can see there's the actual cord itself. There's a bit of the cord there. It's quite thinnish tuning cord. I have bought this and restrung many radios. I've bought it from eBay before. It's, you know, quite widely available. It used to be quite hard to find a few years ago, but it seems you know, there's much more of it about now. But that is quite thin, certainly. So that is going to be, you know, quite a job in itself. And as you can see, the set is very dirty. Tremendously dirty, you know. It's one of the dustiest and dirtiest set I've seen in a long while, but like I've said to you, it hasn't been, as far as I'm aware, it hasn't been touched for probably, you know, I said 50 years, but it couldn't more likely be 60 or 60 years plus. So yeah, but I'm sure it's very restorable, and I'll quickly turn the chassis upside down now and show you underneath. Well, now we're looking actually underneath the radio part of the chassis. There again you can see that virtually no components have really been changed. Up here is the old like, it's almost like wax cardboard smoothing capacitor. It's an electrolytic block, 2 electrolytic capacitors which smooths the HT. That has been leaking over the years, electrolyte, which is dropped into the chassis, so that's obviously got to be removed and replaced with a new capacitor of the same capacitance. This is another electrolytic capacitor which looks, well, you know, obviously that is long past its sell by date, as all are the wax capacitors in the set. They will all need replacing, and there's 1 or 2 of the resistors that don't look particularly good also, but obviously we can check those as we go along. And the first thing I'm going to do now is, obviously, you know, I'm just waiting to show you basically the set and how dusty and dirty it is all under here. And the thing to do now is I shall dismantle it further. I shall take this top board off, take the knobs off, probably take the glass out the dial and take the dial off, and then give it a thoroughly good dusting. I have one of those air dusters, but I like take it outside, and a little small paintbrush, even smaller than that. I've got them, you know, there's some very nice sort of what I think are really called makeup brushes, you know, quite a thickish roundish little brush, and get in there. It's a very soft brush, and just dust all the filthy dust off, and yeah, then we'll take it from there, and we'll see if we can get this back working. Obviously this video, looking at the set now, I had no idea of the condition. I was only guessing, but I think this is going to be a series of videos on this set. I don't want to keep them particularly long. I want them, you know, to keep them, you know, quite short and to the point sort of thing, but so I think it's going to be a complete series of videos on the restoration of this McMichael 137. So I hope you'll come back, and as I say, join us for an update very soon, and we'll need to do a shopping list of all the parts that's needed. I certainly haven't got any replacement electrolytics, which will have to be replaced, this block here. So I'll have to order those, and like the cord drive and various other bits and pieces. So yeah, and then we'll actually get down and actually change some parts and see if we can bring it back to life. So there we go. Please do join me again. Please do subscribe. Please do comment. And I'll see you very soon in another future video. But until then, thanks for watching, and bye for now.